Welcome, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Thanksgiving week. Let's go. My favorite time of the year. Actually, it's probably really not, but I don't know. Do I even really have a favorite holiday anymore? I mean, I feel like as you get older and you have to deal with adult life because life sucks. Let me stop. But yeah, as you get older and deal with adult life, I truly wonder, do adults really have any favorite holidays anymore? I mean, as a kid, growing up, yeah, every kid's favorite time is Halloween because of the candy, Easter because of the candy, and Christmas because of the gifts. Once when you get to like your 20s, like early 20s, mid 20s, favorite holidays start becoming like New Year's Eve, Cinco de Mayo. I mean, just like basically holidays where you could drink and party. I feel like by the time you reach around my age, like early 30s or just 30s in general, because I'm not in my early 30s, I'm in my late, but I feel like once when you get around that age range, you don't really care for too many holidays, honestly. Like, at least for me, I don't care for too many holidays anymore. I feel like holiday season is just another excuse to spend money, go bankrupt, and just create debt, honestly. But I don't know. I mean, I love Thanksgiving. I love getting together with the family and everything like that. But I feel like, is it really my favorite holiday? I mean, I can tell you right now, I don't really give a fuck about Christmas. Fuck Christmas. I mean, we're already starting early with F-bombs, but yeah, I really don't care about Christmas like that. I mean, I haven't cared for Christmas for, I want to say 10 plus years, maybe, because it's not a holiday for me. It's not a holiday for me. It's more of a holiday for the kids. You know, you got Valentine's Day. That's holiday for the women. And it makes me wonder, like, okay, what's a holiday that's for men? What's a good holiday for men? And I mean, the more older I get, I just realize, like, none of these holidays are for men in any type of way. Yeah, we got Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is like literally this month. But is there really any type of holiday that men really look forward to and say, like, man, I can't wait till this day comes? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just like I'm some bitter old man yelling at the clouds these days. But I mean, if y'all got a holiday y'all looking forward to, I mean, yeah, put it in the comments or whatever. If you're on YouTube or Spotify, because I think they do allow comments. I don't remember how that shit works. I just know they're changing a lot of Anchor, the app that usually distributes this podcast, and it's almost incredibly annoying in a way. Because I'm just so used to like Anchor and how they usually distribute podcasts and distribute a podcast episodes, and how they used to reward podcasters for just even having a podcast. Now Spotify took over, and I believe Spotify took over maybe like last year. Their app is a lot more different than Anchor. I mean, still the same website. The only thing is that they changed the functionality in how podcasters like myself can get like compensations for the work that they do. Sometimes that just makes me feel like, do I really want to take the time to actually record a podcast and not be really compensated for the work that I do? And I mean, I'm not trying to talk like, man, I need to get paid, but sometimes donations is nice. But anyway, but I don't know. I just think like the way Anchor kind of set up their website was very beneficial to smaller podcast channels. And I think this is what really is like the thing that bothers me most, because Spotify doesn't really focus on smaller talent or smaller channels or anything like that, just like YouTube. I mean, I've been a channel for a while, as y'all know, but I'm very on and off whenever I'm doing this channel. The thing is, YouTube doesn't really prioritize smaller channels. They usually prioritize the bigger channels because they have the bigger followings, and it garners a lot of attention to the website and the creators that are on there creating for the website. Creators such as myself, which I am like, man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. We struggle to get the right type of audience to our pages, to our channels, and become consistent listeners. Now, it could be a lot of factors in mind that go into play between maybe the content's not that good, maybe the algorithm is kind of off, but whatever it is, most of the time, most small channels are not really getting the attention that they need. And that's why I feel like sometimes there needs to be an alternative to places like Spotify, places like YouTube, where smaller creators can thrive and get the attention and audience that they want, as well as the compensation that they rightfully should get. And I'm pretty sure there's like websites like Nebula, where FD Signifier does some of his stuff, and probably other websites that are just like that, where smaller podcasters can get the right compensation and their audience to their channels. But going back, I mean, it's Thanksgiving time. I shouldn't really be talking about monetization and all that other stuff. I mean, y'all just want to eat some turkey and watch some football, maybe go to a strip club. I don't even know. I don't know what y'all like to do during Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is a holiday that I feel like doesn't really have enough movies in its arsenal. You can find plenty of Christmas movies. Obviously, Halloween is definitely horror-centric. Easter got a few holiday scares here and there. But the thing I've always kind of noticed is that it's hard to find or even think of at the top of your head many Thanksgiving movies. So for the film episode, as y'all see from the title, there's no surprise about what I'm going to talk about. The film that I've watched, because I thought about like, okay, what Thanksgiving holiday horror movie do I want to watch? I didn't want to watch Eli Roth's Thanksgiving because I feel like a lot of people talk about that movie way too much. I wanted to focus on something a little bit smaller. I wanted to focus on Thankskilling. But I did not want to focus on the first Thankskilling because, again, I feel like because of, Thankskilling is one of the few Thanksgiving horror movies out there. I wanted to focus on the sequel, Thankskilling 3. And yes, this movie is a sequel. It is the second film to Thankskilling 1. And the thing that I wanted to point out for this episode of today is to talk about how absurd this movie really is. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this topic about Thankskilling 3. Alright, so first off, starting off, let's talk about the plot of this movie. So, according to IMDB, this is the plot of Thankskilling 3. So, foul-mouthed villain Turkey carves through the likes of a rapping grandma, a mindless puppet, a wig-wearing inventor, a bisexual space worm and their equally ridiculous friends on his quest to recover the last copy of Thankskilling 2. Okay, I feel like that little synopsis gave away a lot of the film. But yes, this movie is definitely ridiculous as it sounds from the synopsis alone. And the one thing that I have noticed is that it just feels like a freaky movie of an episode of a live action Rick and Morty meets Sesame Street type movie. I don't know how many of y'all actually watch Rick and Morty. I've been watching a lot of Rick and Morty just to pass time. Honestly, like Rick and Morty is usually playing in the background, playing on my tablet while I sleep, just to give me something to kind of fall asleep to and wake up to in the morning. There's this episode on Rick and Morty where Rick and the family have to defeat these parasites who embed themselves in memories. And the more memories that are created, the more wacky characters start to develop. So like, for example, I feel like I don't want to use any of the characters' names if you haven't seen the show before. So say like Walterdoom is in a house with his family, his mom, his sister, and they are having a nice little breakfast and whatever. So out of nowhere, there's this other character who claims to be the brother of said Doom and sister. Now, mind you, this character does not really exist. It took me a couple of watches to really like get the episode, by the way. I mean, I don't want to say how slow I am, but it took me a couple of episodes to realize, oh, that's what they were doing the whole time. But I do like watching episodes that you can watch more than once and you always find something new with it. Yes, say like said Doom and his sister don't have a brother that really exists, but this parasite is posing as a brother. Said parasite will create the memories, like literally a lot of memories of the relationship with the family and make them think like, oh, we always had like a brother and we always did these things together. Sometimes I feel like people are like that. People are like parasites, you know? Like they come in and embed you with like these memories, and all you have are these memories in your head that eventually probably will become lost because you got rid of the parasite. But anyway, that was probably a little too much, but where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So so say like said parasite is posing as like a family member. They making it seem like they're part of the family, what have you. Sure enough, if said Doom and sister and mother are believing this parasite, and this parasite ends up creating another memory where there's another character that's randomly brought into the fold of things. Eventually, these people who are remembering these characters will start to develop all these other characters out of thin air. And after these characters are thought up in the person's mind, the parasite starts to become sentient, basically. Like they become a real life figure instead of a memory that's created. The way Rick and the family got rid of the parasites, they realized the only thing that these parasites can do is create good memories. The way they knew that the parasites only existed through good memories is when they realized the people around them that are real, they not only had good memories about that person, but they also had bad memories about that person. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even think about like this episode in a deeper way, but man, this episode is really deep. It's really deep because it really tells you about life and people who come into your life. And it kind of displays the whole thing about, well, it's a visual display about how good people will be around in your life through the good times and the bad times. And sometimes you will have good memories about that person, and you will definitely have bad memories about that person. Does that make that person good or bad? No, not necessarily, depending on what they did or what the offense is. But the thing is that the real people in your life, they will have good memories about you and they will have bad memories about you. It's the fakes you got to worry about, because the fakes are like parasites and they will just make nothing but good memories to you and for you. And I can't believe, like, I didn't even like really come to this realization about the analogy of what Rick and Morty is doing with that episode, but it was really good. And maybe that's why I really like that episode a lot, because I have dealt with like some parasites, you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all like know, y'all probably dealt with some parasites too. Yeah, so going back to what I was talking about, because I feel like I just trailed off off the main mission. I mean, it was a little side quest. It was a side quest mission. You know, Doom goes on his side quest every now and then, but it all comes full circle eventually. But anyway, the characters in Thankskilling 3, it made me feel like I'm watching an episode of Rick and Morty just based on how wacky a lot of these characters were. So, like mentioned in the synopsis, you know, you have a rapping grandma who is like this overly sexualized figure and just really foul mouthed. You got this bisexual worm who comes off as like, they call themselves a woman at first, but then eventually admit to Turkey, like, yes, I'm actually a man. It's insane. You got these cats, these cartoon cats, who are named after STDs. Total crazy shit, bro. Total crazy shit. And then you got like this Muppet. Well, you got this puppet who is looking like a reject Muppet from Sesame Street or Muppet Babies. And, well, not Muppet Babies, but like the Muppets. And her main quest in this movie is to find her mind. So the character I'm talking about is named Yomi. So Yomi ends up in a garbage for whatever reason. She hasn't been like the big garbage, those big business garbage containers. She ends up meeting this guy named Uncle Donnie. Uncle Donnie has this machine called the Pluck Master. Very important to know because it kind of plays onto what happens later on in the film. Uncle Donnie is very unsuccessful. Well, not really unsuccessful. I guess in a way he is unsuccessful because he's kind of like selling an item that's kind of weird. That's supposed to pluck like the wings off. Well, pluck not the wings, but the feathers off the turkeys and kind of make it into like the turkey meal or whatever. And what have you, like it fully cooked and everything like that. But the thing is, Donnie has like this trauma where his family got killed. They got killed apparently by a bunch of wolves, which is some weird storyline later on in the film. I was half paying attention, I'm gonna be honest. I was half paying attention to that because I just was like, where the fuck is this story going? Like, just to be real. But Uncle Donnie, he has this whole trauma that he's dealing with, and he ends up like taking on the mission to help Yomi find her mind. And the way he sees Yomi is almost like a father figure. Well, not father figure, but he sees like Yomi as a daughter. You know, he sees her as a sense of protection and needs to protect her at all times. And just throughout the film, like, you go through this journey where Donnie is basically protecting Yomi and trying to get the Thankskilling 2 movie away from Turkey as much as possible. But my thoughts about all of this is just, it got real weird to me. I mean, first things first, let me say, like, it was a weird storyline. It's a weird sense of like, okay, does this guy realize he's in a world of puppets? Because here's the thing. As you're watching the movie, I mean, you only see Donnie, well, Uncle Donnie and his brother, I believe his brother's name is Jefferson. They're the only humans that you see in this film, honestly. I mean, I feel like there might have been more humans. I think they had a news anchor that might have been a human, but I'm not too sure. But either way, throughout the film, I feel like those guys were the only humans in the movie and everyone else were puppets. It makes me wonder, like, okay, do these guys really know that they're in a world of puppets? I don't know. It seemed weird to me. I guess, like, in a way, it could have been like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit type world. But at the same time, I mean, you have like a mix of puppets and cartoon characters and humans. I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. But again, like I said, these are one of the things that kind of shows how absurd this movie really is going to be. And I mean, it's fine that it's absurd. I mean, I go for totally absurd. Like, I like absurd. I don't know. I think this one's a little too absurd for me. I mean, I like Evil Bong. Evil Bong was an actually fun movie to watch. Ginger Dead Man is actually a very fun movie to watch as well. Killjoy, motherfucking Killjoy. Also another movie that's very fun to watch, which I watched recently, fairly recently. I was watching Psycho Circus with Trit Haga killing himself, but probably my favorite part of the movie. I mentioned that before in the podcast. That was probably my favorite part. I kind of wonder, like, could Thankskilling had did anything different? You know, like in Thankskilling 1, Turkey was the only character that was just primarily a puppet attacking everybody. I was fine with that. I had no problem with it. Thankskilling is supposed to be absurd. It's supposed to have that absurdity. I mean, it's a B horror movie, but I feel like I'd rather had like just Turkey be the only puppet in the movie versus a bunch of puppets in the movie and a couple of humans. And then it made me wonder, like, okay, did they have the budget to actually pay everybody to be in this film? Well, according to like what I've seen, the budget for this film was $112,000 from a Kickstarter campaign. So they had a good decent amount of money that they made versus Thankskilling 1, which had a budget of $3,000, a whopping $3,000. I'm pretty sure a lot of us can make $3,000 in a year within like a couple of weeks or a month. I mean, I'm just saying, it's only $3,000. I mean, I guess in like California budget. I'm pretty sure some of y'all out there listening to this, you're like, $3,000 in a couple of weeks? No, that's that California budget. That's that California budget for y'all. But I also was thinking, like, okay, because it got $112,000 as a budget, maybe that wasn't enough to pay everybody. Well, here's the thing. There have been other movies that have made more in the box office, but they had a budget that was either $100K or less. So a couple of movies that come as an example, I'm going to give you their budget and I'm going to give you their box office numbers. So Paranormal Activity, y'all know I don't really care for Paranormal Activity like that, but Paranormal Activity had a budget of $15,000. Their box office return was $193 million. Jesus. Blair Witch Project, the first one in 1999, had a budget of $60,000. Way less, well, more than, not way less. What the hell am I talking about? This one was more than Paranormal Activity. Their box office return was $248 million. Jesus. Eraserhead in 1977, their budget was $10,000. Now, mind you, it is 1977, so $10,000 might have been a little bit too much money. Maybe that 10,000 based on inflation is probably now the 60,000 of Blair Witch, or maybe even like 70 or 80,000 to who knows, like today, honestly. But box office return for Eraserhead was 7.1 million. Jesus. Again, there's no reason why Thankskilling had probably issues with paying people to be in the movie, because these 3 films alone had a decent cast, had decent writing, and managed to make a killing in the box office afterwards. But then my counter was like, okay, they had a lot of voice actors and puppeteers for this movie, for Thankskilling 3. So that money definitely was paid to the actors. I don't know how much those actors got paid, but I'm pretty sure they got paid a pretty penny from that $112K that was invested into this movie. So yeah, my thoughts was like, okay, this is just weird. But moving on. So the next thing that I just thought was more on the asinine level of absurdity was the storyline about Donnie and his brother Jefferson trying to build a Thanksgiving park.
And white people will meet a black person who completely challenges every racial stereotype that they've ever had. Rather than giving up the stereotype, they create a special category for that person and say, well, you're not like other black people. Or instead of saying, my ideas of black people were too narrow or too, and I think that's the tragedy of any kind of prejudicial thinking, that when we confront the circumstance that tells us it's not so, we frequently don't enlarge our sense of things. We actually come up with new ways to protect and defend that way of thinking.
So in the movie, Donnie and his brother, they want to build like a Thanksgiving themed theme park where gravy is the river and people could float on that river, but no dipping any food, which is really gross. Like, why would you even want to do that anyway? I thought it was a weird idea. Like, who the hell wants to go to a Thanksgiving themed amusement park? Not many people really care about Thanksgiving to begin with. I mean, corporations don't even give a fuck about Thanksgiving, honestly. I mean, it's like, what do you see every year after Halloween? I mean, people are starting to care about Halloween a little bit less, which I'm like, dog, don't disrespect Halloween. I mean, the horror people, we are not about to take this disrespect like we took from that one bitch. So who the hell wants to go to a Thanksgiving theme park? I don't know. I really couldn't think of it. It's a weird concept idea, but Broski really had like this whole idea of, okay, we're going to have this, we're going to have that, we're going to have a Thanksgiving roller coaster, we're going to have it's a small world type roller coaster, well, not a roller coaster, but a boat ride in gravy. I mean, can you even roll a boat? Can you even roll a boat? Can you even roll a boat in gravy? I don't know, man. My thought is like, how successful would this business really be? It's an asinine idea. It's like a way to go bankrupt, honestly, because you can't really run a theme park that's a themed theme park. I mean, yeah, you could kind of get away with it, like with certain themes, like, you know, Magic Mountain. Its theme is Looney Tunes and comic books. Well, DC comic book heroes. Disneyland, you know, you got all the Disney artifacts and memorabilia and characters just flowing through the park. I mean, but Disney is such thieves and such like corporate greed. I mean, they got like fucking everybody. They got like Marvel, Star Wars, you know, the Disney characters, Indiana Jones, and I mean, it's like you can't really get bored at Disneyland or Disney World because there's so many worlds to it. But I mean, still, fuck Disney. But and you got Universal Studios, which is like just everything that is part of Universal, NBC, Peacock type shit, you know? Yeah, theirs is like very themed on that. But now we're talking about holiday themed amusement park, and it's surrounding Thanksgiving. And like I said before, not a lot of people really care for Thanksgiving like that, or even give it its respect. I mean, every 1st of November, we hear Mariah Carey coming out of that cryogenic chamber, getting ready to sing that one song, which is such a disrespect on Mariah Carey, because Mariah Carey is a phenomenal artist and has a lot of great music and songs. But the one thing everybody just loves is, all I want for Christmas is you. I mean, honestly, bro, like, like that's the only song. Like, if you ask anybody, I feel like nowadays people are forgetting how many songs, or how many great songs Mariah Carey has. If you ask like casual people who just only want to hear that song, just be like, hey, name 5 Mariah Carey songs. I'm pretty sure the only thing they'll name is that song. Like, okay, I'm maybe just bugging, but I don't know. I just feel like the commercialism of Mariah Carey singing All I Want for Christmas, which is technically a remake anyway, which some people probably don't even know. I feel like that's the song that really gets pushed to everybody. And I mean, I feel like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, at least younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're all going to think like the only great song Mariah Carey has is All I Want for Christmas, or just see her as a Christmas singer, honestly. Just like how I kind of see Michael Bublé as a Christmas singer, and I'm pretty sure like people who are fans of Michael Bublé, they're like, oh my god, Michael Bublé has such great music and everything like that. But I don't listen to Michael Bublé. Like, the fuck? Why do I need to listen to that nigga? But with Mariah Carey, she's getting that same kind of treatment in a way. But what I've heard, she makes millions just from that one damn song. Homegirl don't even need to like make another album ever again. She's eating off of just All I Want for Christmas. That's how I want to eat, bro. Bro, I wish I could just eat like that. I wish I could come out with just one piece of work, just re-release it every year, and and I just eat off that shit, bro. Oh man, it makes me wonder, like, because the song is good. Don't get me wrong, the song is good, but how long is she going to eat off of that song before people are tired of listening to it? You know, I really wondered that, but. Anyway, moving on, because we're talking about Mariah Carey a little too long. Again, another side quest a bit, but I was thinking to myself, like, okay, if there were holiday theme parks, what kind of holiday theme parks will be successful? So first on my list, I think would be very successful is a Halloween theme park. And I mean, honestly, people are sleeping on horror in a way that they shouldn't be sleeping on. Honestly, horror movies, or just horror in general, could be a year-round thing. And it does fit well, because there's a lot of horror movies that are surrounded by holidays. I mean, like I mentioned before, I mentioned like all the holidays that had horror movies with them. You can make a horror theme park or a Halloween theme park, make it horror. I mean, obviously Halloween is surrounding horror, so you could have your Halloween theme park and just make like one section of the park just pure Halloween shit. So like trick-or-treat areas, or like trick-or-treat mazes and shit like that. Maybe a carnival. Oh, that would be dope, actually. A carnival? Like a Halloween carnival, because that's the one thing that's really big around Halloween. So you have your part of the theme park where it's just very traditional Halloween type shit, and you have mascots that come around dressed like witches and ghosts and werewolves and all that other stuff. But then you could break the park off with like a bunch of horror themed movie characters, memorabilia, depending on who you want to sign up to be part of it. You could really do a lot with just the horror aspect in general. And if you want to take it a step further for the Halloween theme park, you could also just, take all the horror parts, or even have a section of the park be themed around like the holidays and just the holiday themed movies that are around that holiday season. So like, if it's like, again, like Thanksgiving, you will circulate or surround the park with things dealing with like Thankskilling, Thanksgiving 3, Thanksgiving. What's another movie? I forget that Hulu movie that was Pilgrim. That was the name of the movie. So yeah. So you could have like all those things kind of like be an influence, a theme, maybe even like a little Halloween parade with those characters. The only weak spot about like this idea would be just like people who are not into horror, because I mean, obviously you will have scare zones, you will have mazes, but there are people who are not really horror fans or people who just don't like horror in general probably wouldn't fuck with this. And then you got people who don't celebrate Halloween at all. And to me, it's like, okay, if you don't celebrate Halloween, you shouldn't be celebrating Christmas either. But I mean, honestly, I believe that. I honestly believe that, because if you're going to say something is like satanic and all this other stuff, I mean, Christmas is a pagan holiday. So you probably shouldn't be celebrating that if you're Christian, I mean, it's like what Huey said on the Boondocks, it's like, Jesus probably hates you for celebrating Christmas. I'm sorry, I was about to say Halloween, but Jesus probably hates you for celebrating Christmas. for those that watch the Boondocks. But anyway, besides a Halloween theme park, I thought would be dope. The other idea I thought would be so much doper than like a Thanksgiving theme park, bro. And y'all gotta feel me on this one. Y'all really gotta feel me on this one. I kid you not. I feel like I cooked with this one. Maybe I didn't, but maybe I'm just glazing myself. But either way, a Labor Day and 4th of July type theme park. Hear me out. This is a hear me out session. Hear me out. Barbecue. That's all I gotta tell you. Barbecue, bro. Think about it. Hamburgers, hot dogs, sausages, beans, like the pork and beans. Maybe it doesn't even need to be those pork and beans. Maybe black beans. Bro. Fucking steaks, ribs, fish. I'm just saying, the food will be off the chain, bro. Like, honestly, like, the food would be off the chain. I would be all over that food. Like I don't even know. I can't even come up with an analogy right now because I'm making myself hungry right now. I kid you not. I'm making myself hungry just thinking about this, because I really just sat down, outlined this episode, and I was like, damn, you know what? A Labor Day and 4th of July theme park will be dope. I mean, and honestly, the theme park will be covered in red, white, and blue. I'm sorry, there probably will be Trump supporters there for those who hate Trump supporters, but too many nationalisms going on in this park. But the pageantry will be off the chain. It'll have that like founding fathers look and everything. Everybody dressed in like those old school red, white, and blue colonial time outfits and suits and shit like that. And they'll be wearing the white wigs and big top hats and everything like that. The pageantry, I'm telling you, the pageantry will be off the chain along with the food. I mean, honestly, you could literally, like, it don't even have to be like traditional barbecue food, because you could bring in Latino culture, you could bring in black culture, you could bring like Middle Eastern culture for those that are Middle Eastern Americans who celebrate this holiday, or those holidays, I should say. And I'm telling you, it's literally off the chain, because this will be like, this is America type shit, like theme park, you know. And I feel like that will kind of like, it will kind of bring down some divisiveness, I feel like, to where it's like, this is all American culture. Like, all of this is American culture. And maybe you could have like a museum in this theme park. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even write that shit down. But you could have a museum that's like highlighting all the things about American culture. Obviously, some parts will probably be watered down, but I mean, that's the price to pay. But definitely, I mean, if I was running it, I'll be throwing in a bunch of black facts, black culture type shit in there. Bunch of Latino culture in there, Asian culture as well. Because Asians help build like some of America as well. So it's like, there's a lot of stuff I would do that's crazy. That's just crazy and off the wall, but it will be fucking hard. And then when the holiday seasons come around, like Juneteenth, Black History Month, Asian Pacific Islander Month, Latino Heritage Month, all that shit is going to be off the chain. That shit is going to be off the chain with the parades that are going to be there, as well as the traditional, you know, 4th of July theme parade and the Labor Day theme parade. And especially when those holidays hit, oh, that's when the show is really going to be off the chain. I'm just saying, bro. This theme park is going to be off the chain. I'm like, damn, I probably need to patent this shit. I'm just saying, bro. But I was also thinking to myself, like, what holidays would be worse as like holiday themed parades? And I'm be honest, any government holiday. Like, bro, you don't want to go to a fucking theme park that is based on Veterans Day. You don't want to go to a theme park that is based on Columbus's birthday. You don't want to go to a theme park that's on Washington's birthday either. Or even like, and no disrespect, I don't think I want to do a theme park with MLK Day. You know, like, MLK Day is good as a tradition of celebrating it as a parade, but I'm gonna be honest, I would not want a theme park that is surrounding MLK in any type of way or form. Like, no, that shit is cringe, honestly, and it'll probably be very depressing as well. When I thought about like all the other holidays, yeah, we have a lot of government holidays, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and I mean, no disrespect to the troops, but this is not it. That's not it. It would not be it. It would be too depressing. It would be too nationalistic, and I feel like it would be propaganda proof. Like, it would literally be like, well, not propaganda proof, but filled with propaganda. And I mean, I mean, just imagine, like, the first thing you do, you walk it through the doors, the first thing you see is just sign up for blah, blah, blah. You know, like, it's crazy because it's like, if you've gone to an inner city school like I have, all those schools are filled with ROTC type programs. Only our neighborhoods are. I have never heard like a neighborhood that is not in the inner city having a ROTC program. And honestly, I feel like with a theme park that surrounds Veterans Day, Memorial Day, oh, it's definitely some type of indoctrination of trying to get somebody into the troops or trying to serve the government in the army and everything like that. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I'm just like, nah, bro, I'm good. I'm good. So yeah, that would definitely be like the worst idea ever. But it would be like the biggest form of manipulation ever. I mean, shit. I mean, it's like what way can you get people to join and make them feel proud of being American? Design a theme park and it's like a military type theme park that's just serving like the troops and everything like that, as well as paying respects to the troops. I mean, honestly, that would probably be like the best part of the theme park is them paying respects to the troops. But honestly, there's so many troops out there. It's like, how can you have a wall of troop names? And it's like, depending on what city it's in as well, I'm pretty sure they don't want to do like a nationwide of, okay, troops here that have died, their names and everything like that. But that's why we have like military cemeteries and shit like that, just to have those type of respects for them. And I'd rather keep it as that than make a theme park if someone had the bright idea of doing that. I think it's like the worst idea in the world. It's disgusting, honestly. But I'd rather keep it to where like we're paying respects to the troops than make a propaganda for people to join the military and everything like that. But I mean, that's just me.
I got superpowers, bitch. Oh.
All right, so the last thing I want to talk about till we get to the closing of the show is just the absurdity that's very laughable, at least to me, is how OP Turkey is. Now, as y'all notice, I haven't really mentioned Turkey too much. Turkey in the film of Thankskilling, I mean, he's a prominent figure in there, but he's not as prominent as the other characters. And I feel like there was so much emphasis on Yomi and Uncle Donnie and the grandma and, just all the other characters versus Turkey. But when we get Turkey, Broski is a little too OP in this film. Like, in the first Thankskilling movie, he definitely is like OP on how he kills like the gang of kids that are in the movie. But in this film, Broski is a little too OP for me. And here's some of the things that I'm just like, okay, how does Broski even have these powers? They didn't even give him these powers in the first film. So in the movie, Turkey is a father. He has a wife. He has a son. And like mentioned earlier, his mission is to get the only copy of Thankskilling 2 back in his possession because that's his power, and he wants to have everybody see Thankskilling 2 because the corporate system of Hollywood basically canceled Thankskilling 2 because it was definitely absurd and just straight up terrible. So Turkey eventually has this superpower where he could see exactly where his film is at. So Thankskilling 2 is basically in like this DVD case. So old school DVD case. Everybody who used to buy DVDs, I don't know if people really buy DVDs anymore. I haven't bought a DVD in like years. And the last time I bought a DVD, I didn't even buy it for myself. I bought it for someone else. So I hope they enjoyed that DVD too, but I'm pretty sure they did because it was one of their favorite movies. From a DVD, Turkey somehow has a power where he could literally see his location of where this DVD is at and everything like that. So they made Broski a little too OP with that. Another thing that they made him OP with is just giving him telepathy powers, which he really didn't even have in the first film. Like in the first film, Broski was out here like gaslighting kids and just manipulating them just as much as he can because the kids were like idiots. Like they were dumb. They didn't know like which way was left or right. But in this film, Broski is out here like with the telepathy powers and controlling people. So like in one scene, he has Yomi go and get the DVD for him because they have possession of it, and he's like trying to get to that shit. So he has Yomi give him the DVD, and she does it. She gives him the DVD, and Broski takes off. Eventually, Uncle Donnie and the crew, they do get this DVD back because this is obviously early on in the movie. Yeah, it was like a skill that I was just like, or not skill, but a power that I was just like, Broski never had this before, you know? And then another thing that made him OP was Donnie, going back to his business, has this machine called the Pluck Master, which plucks all the feathers off of a turkey, but at the same time cooks the turkey. He has a prototype that sits in his house, and it's a big ass prototype called the Pluck Master 1. And also, which is very absurd, the Pluck Master 1 is also sentient and is able to talk to Uncle Donnie and everyone else in the film. I would probably be freaked out if a machine was talking to me. I don't know why Broski was so calm to have a conversation with his machine like that. But again, this is just a movie, not to take it too serious. But eventually, Uncle Donnie gets Turkey into the Pluck Master 1, where Turkey ends up getting plucked and cooked and shot out of the Pluck Master 1. And he survives. Broski survives, bro. And it made me think, like, how the fuck do you kill this turkey? I remember in Thankskilling 1, they did say an incantation that did kill him, I believe. In this film, for whatever reason, these characters were more dumber than the ones in the first movie. So yeah, Turkey basically survives that one, and eventually, like, Broski has this power of necromancy for whatever reason. I don't know where all these powers are coming from for him. So Broski managed to necromance some turkey bones who were killed and what have you for whatever reason, and they managed to bring bro back to life, put him back together, and put feathers back on him as well. So yeah, it was definitely absurd. It is also laughable because it's like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, what the hell am I watching? Like, what am I watching, really? Not only was Turkey just absurd and laughable, I mean, he was a cold piece of work too. I mean, Broski was out here killing his wife. He killed his wife. He basically killed his son and put his son into the DVD of Thankskilling 2. And Broski, like, killed other characters. I mean, killed Uncle Donnie's brother Jefferson in the most coldest way possible. He killed the grandma, who was very sexualized in a way. I mean, I'm telling you, bro, it was really weird because, like, when the grandma got killed, she saw Jefferson, and Jefferson said, like, hey, you know, heaven is waiting for you. God is waiting for you to give him sloppy toppy, because the grandma's wish of when she dies, her vision of heaven is her going out, being on her knees, and giving God fellatio. I thought that was totally absurd. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, people who are very, very religious are probably offended by that. But I mean, I'm the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, you know? It was just not only that, but Turkey also got into a battle with this wise turkey who appears in the film from time to time. And his role is to kind of guide Uncle Donnie. He's the one that told Uncle Donnie, yeah, you need to protect Yomi at all times. Treat her like a daughter, because something special is going to happen in the end, blah, 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 this and the other. Eventually, the wise turkey shows up and starts going into battle with Turkey. And they do like this whole Street Fighter themed RPG battle. And it's so laughable because I'm just like, who thought of this? Like, who was in the lab? Who was smoking like weed or was doing cocaine or whatever they were doing and was like, what would be good if we treat their fight battle like Street Fighter? I'm just saying, like, that was absurdity at its best. It was laughable because it's only laughable because it's so ridiculous. I think that's why some parts of this movie is actually hilarious because it's so absurd. But here's the thing. I mean, there are villains who are very OP. I mean, we've seen villains that are very OP in movies before, but sometimes they're just not that entertaining. Like Death, for example, in the Final Destination movies. I mean, the thing is, like, what makes Death very absurd and sometimes just boring is because it's like you really don't know how to believe that these characters in this movie who are getting killed by this entity, they defeat it somehow. And most of the times they don't really defeat Death. Death is definitely undefeated. I really do find it sometimes just very absurd with how they deal with Death and just how Death is this undeniable figure and what have you. I don't know, maybe that's why I don't really give a fuck about the Final Destination movies like that. Michael Myers is another character that I do find extremely boring and not really entertaining, especially when he goes out and kills people. Sometimes it's not really that creative. Like Freddy Krueger is very creative when it comes to like killing like the kids in the movie. I mean, we're talking about a dude who sucked the life out of a character. We're talking about a dude who basically slaughtered a dude and had blood spewing out of its bed and shit like that. We're talking about a dude who basically is just slaughtering people in their dreams, and they're just like not realizing the blurred lines of reality and their dream world. So yeah, Freddy Krueger is definitely very entertaining. Michael Myers, I can't stand Michael Myers sometimes, bro. And after watching the trilogies of the rebooted Halloween series, I didn't really like become a fan of Michael Myers like that. That's why whenever I see a post about like, oh, which horror movie would you get rid of? And they got Halloween there along with Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw, and Friday the 13th. I'm going with Michael. Man. Because I don't really feel like Michael is really that much of a standout killer. I'm sorry, maybe because I probably haven't really watched all of the Halloweens. I mean, I believe I watched H2O and or Resurrection. I can't remember which one or which ones I did not see. And I do believe I watched Halloween 4 like some years ago. But did those movies really stick with me? Not really. Did the characters stick with me? Not really. So Michael Myers is not really that entertaining, especially in Halloween Kills. I mean, Broski went and took a lot of crazy things to him. I mean, Broski took a bat, a stab, and a gunshot to the head. Broski was still standing. And you would think, like, because of something like that, you'll be like, oh man, that shit was fucking awesome. It was meh. It was mid, you know? Honestly. So yeah, I mean, as much absurdity as Turkey was in Thankskilling 3, it's not as bad as like Michael Myers bullshit. Fuck Michael Myers.
Now get my way, bitch.
Yo, everybody. So, welcome to the outro. Now, transparency, bit of transparency right now. So, let me tell you guys right now. I had an outro that I recorded for this podcast originally. I didn't really say much as in particular as to basically anything. I mean, all I said was what I was thankful for and kept it moving, kept it straightforward because I like to keep things straightforward, you know. I mean, well, I try to keep it straightforward. Y'all know I go on side quests with these podcast episodes, but as I've been thinking and reflecting and hearing conversations with different people, I wasn't satisfied with what I originally recorded. I wasn't satisfied with what I said in the original outro of this episode. So, first off, let me say this. Thankfulness. That is literally what my main point was for the outro. And basically I was saying how much I am thankful for like my family, my friends, and thankful for like all the people who have came onto the podcast. And I didn't really name names because I did that in the Prelude show. And I feel like naming names again is just redundant at this point. There's no need to name names. If you know who you are and you know how important or valuable you are in my life, I shouldn't have to name names. Or even just essential to the show or anything. Just, yeah, I don't feel like I need to name names. But I started to think that outro is not really good enough. Like that statement and the things that I'm thankful are not good enough. Why is that, Doom? Well, there's because people are suffering right now. There are people who are suffering through this holiday season with loneliness. There are people who are suffering right now with depression. There are people who are suffering through homelessness. And there are people who are just suffering with a will to live. As much as we like to talk about Thanksgiving and we talk about like the food and all the camaraderies that we have with family or friends, I should say, because some of us do Friendsgiving. I never did Friendsgiving before, but, well, actually I probably did it once, but that's not the point. But beyond our wildest funds and hopes and dreams and the love that we share with others, it is still a world of people who are feeling undeserved, undervalued, and mainly in pain. So I say, like, with this, yes, you could be happy about your family, your friends, and whoever else is around you, but for this Thanksgiving, we need to give a little prayer for those who are suffering, to those who are struggling. And if we can, donate. If we can, volunteer. Sometimes maybe doing something selflessness is probably what some of us need to do so we could feel a little bit more like we're giving instead of taking. We could be happy about that turkey, the mac and cheese, the stuffing, whatever you're happy about eating at that next meal. But there is a world of people who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. There's a family of people who are worried about where are they going to live next. So I say this, Team Doom, as we are going through this holiday season, and not just Thanksgiving, but we're also coming upon Christmas as well, the most greediest time of any holiday season. Let's just stop, say a prayer, and if you can, give help. Give help. Give help if you can. I mean, help comes in many ways. Like I mentioned before, volunteer service is always good. Donations. I mean, if you can donate to an organization that helps people who are struggling, by all means, help. So yeah, I say this, Team Doom. I mean, I'm not trying to bring down the atmosphere or the vibes or anything like that, but for me, I wasn't satisfied with the outro. I wasn't satisfied with what I was saying. And as a person who has struggled mentally for a majority of his life, I couldn't just sit here and say an outro that was all fun and games, and we're coming close to Thanksgiving, and I don't address the real issues that people are having. So before I head out, Team Doom, let's have a moment of silence for those who are struggling out there. Let's have a moment of silence, and I mean, y'all could pray if you want. I mean, if you're somebody that likes to pray, you could pray if you want. This is not a forced thing. If you want to turn off this podcast because I'm talking about this shit, go right ahead. I don't give a fuck. like honestly. Right now, for me, I just wanted to come on here and just kind of like talk about that and talk about what's really going on in this world. So for a few seconds, let's have a moment of silence for those out there. All right. So that is today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the laughs. And I hope you guys enjoyed this last part as well. If I haven't lost y'all, I will see y'all until the next episode. Other than that, this has been another episode of Film and Guts. Stay diabolical, people. And give love somewhere. Check up on somebody that you haven't checked up on in a while. Peace.